Namah Shivaya. Hello, children. Welcome back to our podcast, Goswami Tulsidas, the story of one of India's greatest saints. And in our last episode, we heard the incredible story of Rambola's birth, his early struggles, and how he was guided by Saint Naraharidas into a life of devotion towards Rama. Today, we move to a turning point in his life, an event that would completely change the course of his journey and awaken his deepest devotion to Lord Rama. So, as we spoke in our previous episode, Rambola grew up, he became a respected scholar, he was wise, well read, and deeply spiritual. But don't forget, he was also human, and like all of us, he had feelings and emotions. So it's not that a person who is on his spiritual journey will suddenly renunciate everything like a sannyasi. He is like us. He also had feelings like us, he also had different emotions like us. So one day during a grand festival called Meghamala, this Meghamala festival was held once in every 12 years. So the villagers gathered by the sacred river Yamuna to take a holy bath. So Rambola also went there, and among the crowd, his eyes fell upon a girl called Ratnavali. She was beautiful. It's not just beauty, she also had something more. She was intelligent, wise, and well versed in the scriptures. She was the daughter of Dinabandhu Pandit. He was a learned man from the nearby village. So Dinabandhu Pandit has been searching for the right groom for his daughter. And when he met Rambola, he was deeply impressed with this boy. So such humility, such sharp intellect, and such discipline, he thought in his mind. And you should be wondering, Rambola doesn't have anything. How can this Pandit give his daughter to this Rambola? Because in earlier days, it's not like the present situation where we talk only about money. In the earlier days, people used to give respect to the knowledge that a person has and the good behavior that he has. So, as I was already telling you, knowledge and behavior are very important to any person. That is the biggest asset for anybody. So, he wanted to give his daughter into marriage to a person who has knowledge and also good behavior. That is the reason he thought this Rambola might be a right person for my daughter. So he even challenged Rambola to a debate in spiritual matters, and Rambola answered every question with ease and also grace. Soon the marriage proposal was made. With the blessings of the village elders, Rambola and Ratnavali were married on an auspicious day. They were a wonderful couple. They were devoted, they were wise and caring. I said Ratnavali was also just like Rambola, she's into her spiritual journey. So they both made a good couple. So Rambola loved his wife dearly because she was so beautiful, she's so gentle, and she is also wise. So she won his heart completely. He couldn't bear to be away from her for long. But destiny had other plans. So one day, Rambola had to go to a nearby village for some important work. While he was away, Ratnavali's brother came rushing to her. He cried out, "Sister, sister, our mother is very sick. Please come quickly." But Ratnavali was confused because her husband is not in town, and it's not like she has her cell phone and she'll call her husband and tell him that I'm going to my mother's place. She couldn't communicate with her husband. So what could she do then? How can she inform him? So she was just a bit confused. Then her brother said, "Come now, Rambola will join us later. You have to first come because mother is not at all well." So finally, with a heavy heart, she left a message for her husband with the neighbors and then went to her mother's house. So Rampola was out for 3 days. So after 3 days, he returned and he was puzzled because the house was silent. So he was searching for her and he went to the neighbors and asked, "Where is Ratnavali?" Then the neighbors told him what had happened. And now his heart sank as if she has left the country and she wouldn't come back maybe after a few months or years. But the thing is, as I already said, he also had a lot of emotions. He was so attached to his wife. He didn't like the feeling of staying away from her. So his heart sank and he sat alone in the empty house that night. He was so restless and sad. I must go, he thought. Anyway, he'll be going the next day morning because he also has to look at his mother-in-law. He has to go, but he was so attached to his wife that in the middle of the night, don't forget children, that is he's thinking about all this in the middle of the night. He wanted to see his wife immediately. Even we have these feelings, right? Suddenly if we want something, you can see this mainly when a new movie of a favorite film star is released. You know, if it is releasing in the morning at 4 o'clock, even if you won't wake up at that time for your exams, if when a favorite movie star's movie is coming, what do? Wake up in the morning, go to the theater, get your tickets, and watch the movie and come back. Only then you will feel relaxed. You know that you can watch the movie the next day or the next day. No, you can't wait so long. You have to see that immediately. This is also an attachment. So from this lesson, we have to see what we can learn. Okay. Okay. So it was in the middle of the night. The skies were very dark. Heavy rain was falling and the river was full in flood. So there were no boats to cross. Who will run a boat during the midnight, that too when there is a lot of rainfall? But Rambola's love towards his wife was so intense. He was so desperate to see her. He didn't stop. He found a floating log in the lightning flash. He clutched it and bravely crossed the river, completely drenched and exhausted. See how dangerous it is. Just for the sake of his desire to see his wife, he has done such a dangerous act. What happens if he dies in that flood? See, he is not thinking so far. Even though he is so learned, he is so good, but still his heart has dominated his mind. That is what happens to all of us, right? When we go out, we see an ice cream shop. We know that is not good for us. If we eat, we get cold, but definitely we'll definitely have that ice cream. So the heart is dominating the mind. In 2 days you have examinations, your final examinations, but today there is an IPL match. Your heart says watch the match, your mind says go and study. Definitely heart wins over the mind. So the same is the case with Rambol also. So he was completely drenched, he was completely exhausted, and finally he reached his in-laws house. Ratnavali was very surprised and she was touched by his arrival. Obviously, my husband loves me so much. She was so happy for that, but she was also surprised. And when they were sitting alone, Ratnavali asked him softly, "Why did you take so much risk to come here in this stormy night?" Then Rambola replied, "Because I couldn't live even a moment without seeing you." Children, what Ratnavali said next changed his life forever. She gently said, "If only you had this much love for Lord Rama, your life would be truly blessed." And then she spoke those powerful words. Listen carefully. "My body, this beauty, is just a heap of bones covered by skin. It won't last. It will grow old, it'll wrinkle, and one day it'll disappear. But Rama, his beauty, his glory, his love, that is eternal. So why don't you turn your heart towards him?" She then showed him a picture of Rama Pattabhishekam. Rama Pattabhishekam means the coronation of Lord Rama. When he was coronated as the king, she showed him that picture and she said, "Look at this divine sight. This is where your devotion belongs, not in this perishable body, but in the eternal form of Sri Rama." See how such good advice she has given to her husband, how she has turned his heart from the beauty of the lady to the beauty of God. Her words pierced Rambola's heart like a divine sword. That very moment, a great transformation began. So from that day forward, Rambola changed. He turned his thoughts away from the worldly attachments and turned completely towards Lord Rama. He began to chant Rama's name more and more. He composed hymns, stotras, and bhajans. He began to live not for himself, but to spread the name and message of Lord Rama. So, and thus the poet Saint Tulsidas was born. So, dear children, what can we learn from today's story? Love is beautiful. Love towards parents, your friends, your siblings. Any love is beautiful. But true love guides us towards God, not away from Him. Like Tulsidas, we must be willing to change, to become better, to become wiser, and to become truly devoted. I don't mean to say that we have to leave all the worldly pleasures and live like a saint, but we have to reduce our uh, attraction towards that, and we should not be desperate for having those things. We should have a balanced life. Okay, so in the next episode we'll see how Tulsidas began writing the Ramcharitmanas, the greatest retelling of Lord Rama's story that millions of people still read and sing today. So until then, keep chanting the name of Rama, and remember, real beauty is not in the body, it is in the soul that seeks God. Jai Hind.